So anyway, our presentation tonight will be Robin Hutton from the Office of Consumer Affairs and Amy Schram with the Better Business Bureau. And we've all been hearing about all the fraud and the scams and the schemes that are going on. And there's probably more than we can even think about. I'm just hearing Amy and Robin talk tonight. I mean, this stuff is just rampant, and it's a big, big problem. So hopefully we can get some tips on to how to avoid it, and if we can't avoid it, how to get back at them. So if I can have Amy and Robin come on up. Okay.
Hi there. I am the Senior Community Relations Specialist with Better Business Bureau. I've been with BBB coming up on 6 years now, and over the course of the past year, we have recently started collaborating with Robin's office, the Massachusetts Office of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation, in delivering these programs. Our office reaches or serves all of Eastern Mass, all of Maine, all of Vermont, and all of Rhode Island, and so I travel throughout those 4 states, and Robin's office serves all of Massachusetts, so she gets to hit Western Mass when I can't be there. And I'm going to let her introduce her agency, but I just want to mention a tiny 60-second overview of BBB and who we are. We're a nonprofit organization. We were founded in 1912, and what we really want individuals to know is that we are essentially a free precautionary resource tool. A lot of people are familiar with the Better Business Bureau. You've heard the name BBB. You've utilized our free services over the years, but most consumers and individuals have used us after you've had a problem with a product or a service or a business. You contact us, or let's say you order a washing machine and the business delivers a dryer and you're trying to reach out to them because you want them to come back with the washing machine, and for some reason there's a lack of communication there. Contact us, we serve as the middleman. But what we want people to know is we'll take those phone calls every day and we help facilitate the dialogue between the two parties, but we'd much rather have people contact us before you choose which business you want to hire or sign a contract with, because you're less likely to have that issue on the other end of things. And we have 5 million businesses within our database. BBB.org is a huge resource tool. It's at our fingertips 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 5 million businesses, about 400,000 of those are accredited businesses. Pinnacle is one of them. And we really want to encourage consumers not just to contact us about the negative, but about the positive experiences that you've had as well. Don't just contact us if you've had a complaint that you need to file. We want those. We want you to contact us for those. But if you've had a good experience, come write a good positive customer review as well. And let's see a lot of the positive out there. And beyond the 5 million businesses, we have information on charity organizations via our Wise Giving Alliance, and then something called Scam Alerts, which is everything we're about to get into times much, much, much more. So if you leave here today and you're curious about anything else, maybe you receive a new phone call that we don't touch upon right now, or an email or something, visit our website and visit the Scam Alerts portion of the website. And we're constantly updating it. And we really just want to educate and inform the community to the best of our ability, and just answer any questions that you might have as they come along. And sometimes it's, at 2 a.m. And something strikes you, visit our website. But if it's during business hours, certainly call our office. And I can certainly take questions on BBB, but I'll let Robin just give a little overview.
60 seconds, I
60
promise.
seconds. I know, that was a lot more than that.
Thank you for having us. I work for the Office of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation. It's a state agency underneath the Baker-Polito administration, the economic development with Secretary Ash and Undersecretary John Chapman. And part of my job, like Amy, is to get out into the communities, because most people have no idea that my office is even out there. We have 5 agencies that are underneath us. We have the Division of Banks, Insurance, Telecommunications, and Cable. I already said insurance. And we offer so much for our communities, and there's free information. If you would like to check on your realtor, make sure that your realtor actually has their license.
No realtors in here.
You can contact us.
It's not in my wallet.
See? But
That's a law.
well, exactly. The thing is, we have a helpline that's run Monday through Friday, and we actually have human beings that answer the phone. And it's a great thing most people don't know about. If you want to complain about something, you want to say, hey, is my plumber, does he have his license to work here? Or how about my real estate agent? Or how about this? It's amazing how many calls. We field between 300 and 400 calls every week. We also run the state lemon laws, the home improvement contractor programs. If there's ever been a breach, we hear about it. They have to come through our office. So there's a lot of free information. Our website is chock full of information. Open 24 hours a day if you want to go and look up at any kind of information. And Amy and I have been collaborating, and it's been wonderful. We give probably 30 to 40 presentations all over Eastern Mass every month. It's, and unfortunately, fraud and identity theft is so prevalent. It's a $50 billion industry just in the United States alone, so it's not going away. We have great job security, unfortunately. And just so you know, you're not the ones who are always targeted. No one's getting targeted. We're all getting the calls. We're all getting the weird emails, and it's just frustrating. So unfortunately, it's something that's always going to be out there.
Yeah, and it's coming at us from all angles, it feels like. We've received phone calls for years, I feel. But what's interesting now is that we're not receiving as many phone calls nowadays where they say you want a free cruise, or there's a Nigerian prince with rubies and ruples in your name, do this, that, and the other to collect it, or you want a free vacation, or you owe $20,000. They're not really using these big exorbitant tactics anymore because they know we're kind of onto them, and we've become a bit more savvy over the years after receiving so many phone calls like that. So we're less likely to fall for something like that, if we want to use that terminology, falling for it. What they're doing nowadays is they're impersonating legitimate businesses and legitimate organizations, real charities they'll impersonate, or they'll make up a name of a fake charity but might sound really familiar. And they'll call and they'll pretend to be our bank and our credit card company and our phone provider and our cable provider, and they know that we're more likely to stay on the line with them a little bit longer than if they say something outlandish like you owe us $20,000 or you won $20,000. I would love to receive that phone call and have it be legitimate, but it's never going to happen, or it's never going to be real, and it's these very realistic tactics that are really getting us, because especially when it comes to our credit card companies and our banks, we are regularly receiving more phone calls, if you've noticed, from your credit card company or bank saying, just want to double check that you made these 2 purchases at these, stores that, are unusual to your spending pattern, or a significant amount over what you typically spend. And we're receiving those because, they're closely monitoring our accounts nowadays. It's this big catch-22 of all the identity theft that's going on out there. We're really being monitored. And because of that, the scam artists are piggybacking off of that. And they're saying, you know what, I might be the 6th call of the day, but I'm going to, lay it on thick if they're pretending to be from a charity organization, or if they're pretending to be from our bank. Maybe they'll give us a little, some small pieces of information. They'll say something like, maybe they know our first name, and they can find this on the internet. It's very easy. They'll say, oh, hi, Nancy, I'm calling on behalf of Bank of America. I just wanted to let you know, we noticed a slight discrepancy with your account. Don't worry about it. We're going to go ahead. We're going to cancel the card you have now. We'll send you out a new one. You'll get it within 5 to 10 business days. Can you just confirm that you're still at 1 Main Street in Wellesley, Massachusetts? Perfect. Could you also just confirm your account number for me? And by the time they ask you for that big chunky piece of information, which is a big deal to ask you for, they've already said your name, the name of your bank, they confirmed your address for you, and maybe they're just asking for something at the end that by the time they get there, you're already in this very conversational dialogue with the person on the other end. And believe it or not, it's much easier for us to fall victim to something like that. But there are definitely a few things that we can do when it comes to the phone scams. There's 2 very, very big things, and I'll let Robin mention those.
I think most people do rely still too heavily on their caller ID, and I know people don't want to hear this, but there are scrambling devices that can be purchased on the black market. They're $50 to $75. They're cheap, and I can buy one, and I can make it look like the Wellesley Police Department, the Wellesley Rotary, the Wellesley whatever is calling you from 617-781. So we're all, oh, well, I'll pick it up. I'm not quite sure I recognize it, but it's at least in my area code. We don't fall for the ones that, that are coming from Western Mass, or I get 6 calls a day, and they're all from, like, Milwaukee. I don't know anybody in Milwaukee, but they keep calling. But there are scramblers out there, so people are saying, oh, they'll look at their cell phone and they'll go, well, I'll pick it up anyways. Don't pick it up. Just don't pick it up. If you don't recognize it, even if it says it's the police department, unless your spouse works for the police department, be very skeptical who is really calling you. If it says Bank of America is calling you, just be very wary of what kind of information you're going to give them. If you haven't done the reach out to call your bank if there's an issue and they're calling you, you should be very, very skeptical, because they get very personal, and they, a lot of times, your information can be found. and purchased very cheaply. Your social security number can be purchased for roughly $100 on the black market. So you can have these impersonators, and they'll call you, and they will say, like Amy said, all of this information, and they'll say, oh, just to verify, is your full social security number this? And they'll read it off to you. So everybody says, oh, well, I'm not on social media, I don't do this, I'm not on Facebook. Everybody else is. And I think one of the quotes I was reading about Facebook, they get 600,000 breaches a day. So if you're not getting, your information hasn't gotten breached, it will eventually. It's just scary how much information is out there. So if you get a call and they say it's from Bank of America, or even your credit card, or your loan officer, or whomever, I honestly don't believe it. You can't be 100% sure. Hang up, pull out your Visa, and call the 800 number in the back, because that way you know at least 100% that's the 800 number, or your debit card, or whatever, or actually find some information and call your loan officer directly. Call the local non-emergency number for the police department to if they really are calling you. But so many people fall for it because they don't take a step back and think, this sounds a little weird. Why are they calling me? Even if they are calling you legitimately, you just can't be 100% sure. And if you're giving them all this information, oh, there's a problem with my Visa. Oh, let me pull my Visa. Oh, yeah, and this is my full number and my social security number. Oh, there's a problem. Now you're giving away information, and you haven't initiated that call. Mm-hmm. It's scary. I get 5 or 6 calls a day, and they're all junk. I know they are. Did you have a question?
So there's a bunch of apps now that purport to block.
Yes.
Sign up for one robo-killer.
Sure. So there are lots of free and paid apps. We can't actually say anything per app.
Advocate.
I would actually do some due diligence. I got one called, I don't know, Robo app or something kooky.
Robo-killer.
Well, I'm trying it. It's a free one. Just to see how it works and see if it does anything. Can't say yet. I just downloaded it the other day. If you're getting a lot of phone calls at home, there is nomorobo.com. You can register your landline for free. I think it's $2 for your cell phone. Mm-hmm. That cuts down on all the robocalls, because a lot of our scammers, they're not calling us out of the blue. They're now using computer systems, and they're churning out numbers. Yes?
It's saying, do not answer your cell phone if you don't recognize the number. Mm-hmm. If I did that, I'd be a very poor person.
It's very tricky.
I mean,
Yep.
I'm semi-retired, but I'm
Sure.
practically retired. But when I was full-time in business, I did business with 500 to 700 people
Sure.
in Massachusetts who had a landline, a business line, and a cell phone
Mm-hmm.
number. I get the number. I didn't recognize all of them. I guess I could leave a voicemail.
Right.
But I can call back. If they act like me, I'll be leaving a voicemail.
I know. It's very, it's true.
It is
It's very tricky when it comes to running a business, and a lot of businesses nowadays, everything's all tied into one phone. So it's your personal and it's your work phone, because it's cheaper and it's easier because we can take the cell phone with us. We don't have to have a landline at the office. So that's one of those situations where it's really about assessing what your need is and what your priority is. And if you have to answer your phone because you own a business, then that's certainly the best thing that's certainly something that you have to do. But what's tricky is there's a lot of scams that are out there, and sometimes it feels like they're completely unmanageable, and in a sense they are. For example, we cannot control how many phone calls are going to come in. We can't control how often our phone is going to ring. It's very, very, very hard to stop the calls, but we can control how much information we give away. So it is possible that no one in this room ever has to fall victim to a phone scam, and that doesn't mean that everyone in this phone has to stop answering the phone. It's just that when the phone rings, hear who it is on the other end, and if it's a business or something like that, if it's someone saying that they're your bank or a particular charity or your cable company or phone provider, hang up and, like Robin said, just call that number back. If it's something like a client, or if you're the business and they're calling you, just try to really assess how much information has to be shared in that first phone call. That's really the biggest thing, and it's a different priority for different people, especially if you're someone where you have to answer the phone because it is a business, and we totally understand that. Mm-hmm.
Do you work in any way with the AG's office?
Yes. Oh well.
Well, the AG's office is actually a completely different office from our office. But if there are issues that we can't deal with, it's something that the AG's office needs to handle, then we would actually send them to the AG's office.
Yeah, sharing information. When it comes to scams, you can report a scam to us. We have our scam tracker. You can report it to Robin's agency. We often tell people to take it a step further and report it to the Attorney General's office or the Federal Trade Commission. That's probably the biggest resource when it comes to reporting scams.
What about the TV stations? Will they let you come on and do like the scam of the month so people know what's going on? You can say
Oh, yeah.
motorcycles.
Sure.
Will they let you do that?
They
Yes.
do, yeah. So we do a lot of local access television, and there's a station here today. Yay. But actually, my boss, the VP of Communications and Marketing, Paula Fleming, she is traveling all throughout our service area. She's on Fox News in Providence and in Maine, and she was in Vermont this weekend, and she's always traveling and doing outreach just as we're doing, but on a little bit of a larger
I
scale.
don't see anybody on Boston channels because I'm sort of a news nut. I don't see them.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly could be offered to appear more. So if you know anyone, but
Well, you can just call up home. They're always
Yeah.
looking for stuff. You just come on and say, hey, watch out for these bank scams that are doing that, and they'll give you 30 seconds.
yeah, usually it is during times of something very, very, very big being released. Absolutely, that's when you'll see it more. We just released something on Harvey that our office put out, and Paula then went and did a few interviews just last week to do it. But yeah, I mean, the outreach is there. It's tough because the scams that we're dealing with here locally, they're happening all I would say all around New England, but all across the U.S. It's really hitting everyone, and they're very similar. The people in California or the people in Utah might be receiving phone calls where they look at their caller ID and they say our zip code instead of theirs, or area code. Sorry. And so, I'm sorry. Yes. Oh,
Can you just give us a couple of horror stories?
how many do you? How much time do we have?
I can give you one.
Yeah. Do you have a personal one?
Yes, this happened to you. guys are like 2 weeks too late.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll
That will
prevent the
make
next one.
No, but my point is to hear you actually makes me feel a little bit better because I feel like I'm a pretty savvy person, like in terms of, because I'm a realtor and I get a ton of crappy phone calls and
Sure.
I'm careful about the calls. There's like Houston, Milwaukee, like I'll let it go to voicemail.
Yeah.
And just see. But I did have a situation and it's been so long story short, like I always give a certain amount of money to the local schools every year for, community outreach and so on and so forth. So I got a telephone call, and I have to tell you the reason, one of the biggest reasons was that it was like a young girl. It was this, and I used to be in telemarketing when I was young, and she was awesome. She was really good. She was trustworthy, she knew names, she was conversational, she was sweet, she's from Houston. My dad was from Houston, so she was like really like engaging. She knew names, she knew the names, the principals' names of the high school, so on and so forth. She basically, and long story short, I won't make it it was a horror story for me, but I was getting ready to leave for vacation, so she called me the evening before I was leaving, so I was sort of rushed. And she was basically like moving me along, and like, so there's a new cheerleading group with the high school, and they were trying to build money, and I knew that. And the high school, and we're going to have banners, and your name will be announced at every halftime. There's going to be a banner at the new fields. They knew our fields were new. They knew the cheerleading coach. They knew the vice principal of high school. I said, how did you get my name? The local booster, one of the local boosters has been informing us and gave us your name.
Wow.
It was just,
It's
and
perfect.
so I was like, okay. So
It sounds like an inside job.
I have 2 daughters who are in high school, and I've not worked with the high school before. Had I worked with high school before, I would have known that you only can go through the booster organization. But I got completely scammed. $2,500. I'm just gonna put it out there to you. $2,500. But I was promised a lot. They cannot deliver almost any of it. But meaning like the name cannot be announced. There are no banners allowed on the football field, so on and so forth. But I will say, here's the thing. So I did file a police report. The school has been involved. I've been in touch with the superintendent's office. They're reporting it to the attorney general. Like, they've done a police report. So we're going through all the channels. I feel like a complete idiot.
You can't though.
Don't. But you know what I mean? Because, well,
Sue, I just gotta tell you, you left work early today. The package came for
yes,
Friday.
yes, I know. So this is going to be my next point, and I don't want to see it. So here's my question for you, based on my horror story.
Oh.
So what happened was, I went on vacation. I woke up in the middle of the night one night, and I went, what the hell did I do? I gave my name, I gave my card, and I never got a confirmation email. I never got, and I started to panic. I went online in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, like you said, and they had just charged me the amount that they had said. So, and I Googled them. They are a legitimate company. They have changed their names several times because they have so many Better Business Bureau complaints against them. My bad for not looking it up.
Sometimes you don't know.
But, anyway, so, but what they do is they deliver the banners. So they said, if you don't send us your logo to put on the banner, we'll do it for you and send it to you. And I sent an email, and I talked to them. I got hung up on like 25,000 times. Like, it was really bad. And then I knew that I had totally been scammed. But anyway, my point is they legitimize their company by sending,
Yes.
by actually delivering the product.
Did you contact your credit card company
Oh, yeah.
and have it reversed?
I attached my.
Did you, the company, were they located in Houston, or is the girl calling from Texas? Or
No, they're located. They're actually in Fort Worth.
you can
It's
actually,
down
have you
in Fort Worth.
contacted the Attorney General's office in Texas?
No.
That might
Well,
be, that might be a good step as well.
I haven't. No.
I would
Pull
definitely
out the
try
big
that.
guns and give them a buzz. If you don't have the number, I can look it up for you. I would absolutely, if you're ever getting scammed by a specific company, they're out of Milwaukee, they're out of Chicago, wherever they are. One of a really good step is to go to the Attorney General's office in that state, because they have a lot more power than we would, and they all have 800 numbers or whatever their numbers are. They're easy to find, and it's a good step.
Yeah,
Robin,
wherever
I
they're.
have
Sorry.
just one more
Sorry.
story.
I'm
This is
sorry.
from Wellesley.
Oh, I don't have a story. I
Sure.
just want to ask a question.
Sure.
I get you get those phone calls. How do you report it as a scam? Like, there's one that comes from Washington. They say, I'm American. I picked it up.
Federal
from
Trade
state.
Commission.
I'm American Express, and because you're a member, we're going to give you a hotel. I hang up, obviously, right there, but that number sort of, but it just changes.
FTC.gov.
FTC.gov.
FTC.
I report the numbers if the numbers change.
So-
The other ones, they mimic your
Sure.
781 and then the first
The-
3 digits. Those come through and
Yeah.
those change every day.
The more often, this sounds frustrating, but the more often we constantly are reporting the numbers, it's another piece of the puzzle to help our government find who these people are. It's can take forever. It really, honestly, it is not an easy process, because the numbers they're not calling from here. They're not even calling from one other country. They're calling through 4 or 5 other countries. They're getting patched in. Same thing with the crappy emails. They're being sent through different servers, and then they finally get to your email. So FTC.gov,
Go on there and put the phone number in.
put the phone number, what
Yeah,
time,
every time.
who they said they were. If it was
I'll
someone,
pick 'em up.
okay, well, that's fine. It's just, but the more we report the information, the better off it is.
Will you be able to stay a few minutes?
Oh yeah, I'm fine, sure,
Okay, 'cause
absolutely.
I need to wrap up the meeting.
Sorry.
and everyone's welcome to stay longer.
Okay.
Can we fit in bins?
I just had a quick question.
Sure.
Doesn't the BBB put out a scam alert that you can get on your email?
We do. So we have free newsletters, and one of the options is a scam alerts email newsletter. And all you have to do is put down your email address. You don't even have to put down your first name, your last name, your phone number, just an email address. And once a week, you receive an email in your inbox. And I signed up before I started telling people about it 6 years ago, because I wanted to make sure it was only once a week, and it really is. And it is super helpful for me as a presenter of identity theft and scams programs, but also as a consumer, because we're all susceptible to fall victim to something. So it is, and it's It's free, and you can always unsubscribe, and they do unsubscribe you if you decide that you want to be taken off the list, but it's worth it. And then you can also report scams via our scam tracker, and that is information that gets sent directly to the FTC as well. Everything that you report through us gets sent over to the FTC, and it helps with their stats and tracking down on these scammers as well.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you.
you.
Sure,
Would you do me a favor and hand me those plaques to your right? You can also have an honorary T-shirt if you'd like.
Oh, thank you.
There should be two there. Someone take it with his shirt.
Fish through.
Thank you so much. So, Amy, Schram,
thank you.
thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you.
Oh, wow, thank you
And
very
I do
much.
hope you can spend a couple more minutes.
Absolutely.
Happy to answer questions.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, Susan, it's your chance. Ta-da, thank you. And both Amy and Robin are able to stay here, so please do stick around. I just promised to wrap up at 8, and we've done that. So please stay.
See me before you.